Should you avoid processed foods? Good morning if you're coming in. Give me a hello. If you're on replay, drop a replay. So processed foods, quite often we say, to avoid them. I always eat from fresh, I always eat natural, and avoid processed foods. But I'm here to question that, as always, because what do we mean by processed foods? Of course, we can agree that ultra processed foods are probably going to have a negative impact. There's enough research to show that. Sugar sweetened fizzy drinks, like super sweet and fat treats and sweets and chocolates and cakes, things like that, which are ultra processed, we probably know they're not going to be great for our health longer term. Things in short term, a little bit more up for grabs, and you obviously, this can be some products, can be independent of body weight and calories, of course, especially taken over a long period of time. But if we talk about processed foods, how do we define processed foods? When I've lectured before or been in lectures, whether it's at Oxford Brookes University, Loughborough University, something that is really key, especially in nutrition, is defining what you mean by a processed food. Like, what is a process? Like, technically, one of the healthiest, cheapest, best superfoods out there is a processed food. When you look at the nutrients and the cost, can you guess what it is? The nutrient density per gram of it is super high, and that is, drumroll please, tomato puree. And that's processed. Like, the amount of nutrition in tomato puree, because it's literally condensed down to a puree, all the goodness in there. But that's processed. It's a processed food. Does that mean it's bad? Similar to yogurt, processed food. Does that mean it's bad? Oh, that's great for your gut health, etc. B12, protein. Does that mean it's bad? Or I've started having red lentil pasta. It's processed. Is that bad? Where do we draw the line? Lots of processed food. Think like cereal, bread, for example. Like white flour in the UK has calcium fortified into it by law. Like, just has calcium fortified into it, like genuine, like in the supermarket. Because that's like a way of potentially helping with calcium intake. And it's things like this where you go, well, that's technically processed now. Making bread is a process. And then you look at fortification, like cereal. Like, let's look at cereal. We know that's fortified with like vitamins and minerals and things like that, which is probably a good thing. It's like someone taking a bit of a multivitamin tablet with their cereal. You can argue it's one for another day, but it kind of makes something that's less nutrient dense, aka cereal, more nutrient dense. And going off topic a little bit, it does make me laugh sometimes when it's like, you've got to have your cereal in the morning to get your iron and to get your B vitamins. And it's like, actually, it's just like dried food with a multivitamin. The cereal itself doesn't contain those nutrients, it's fortified with it. However, I can see the positives of that. You could go about your day caring, no care in the world about nutrition, have a bowl of good old Cocoa Pops, and at least you've got a bit of baseline nutrition in there. It's like a bit of an insurance policy. Nothing against Cocoa Pops, they're fine. But at the end of the day, at least you're getting some nutrition from having them. So where do you draw the line? Like, whey protein powder is processed food. Vegetarian alternatives to meat, processed foods. So my point here is sometimes we need to get over what that is and define what we mean. Like, when we say I don't eat any processed foods, it's probably not true. What's the difference? Then it comes down to our beliefs about what's good and what's bad, which can then create negative relationships with food. So I want you to challenge that today. I want you to really challenge and question that, because sometimes if you have then a processed food, you think, I've messed up, I've had a bad food. Would you do that if you had tomato puree and had all that nutrition in it? Probably not. So we need to question this more. I believe we'll have better relationship with food. Of course, ultra processed foods are a little bit different. It's not really up for debate as much, but processed foods in general, there's a lot of benefit in them. They save lives around the world for sure. Processed foods with added vitamins, minerals, save lives as well. So what is good and bad? Then you open up this can of worms, which is probably a processed food if it's in a can. Where do you draw the line? It's a confusing one. And then it begs the question of the balance side of things. It begs the question of what foods are we potentially avoiding and at what cost? And I'll give you an example. I spoke to someone yesterday about whey protein powder, and I'm not saying everyone should take this or anything, but they were like, I'm rushed, I'm busy, don't want to be spending loads of money on the go, but I need to increase my protein intake. Okay, whey protein powder sounds perfect for you. It's cheap, tasty, get some great flavours. It's cheaper than a meal deal. What do you have instead? Well, sometimes I've had some lentil crisps on the go, which is fine, or a breakfast cereal bar. I'm thinking, well, they're all processed. And they're like, yeah, whey protein sounds a bit chemically and processed. I'm thinking, well, that's like saying formula milk is processed, right? Formula milk, like baby formula milk, is like whey protein powder, casein protein powder, which is basically milk powder, and then some added vitamins. And it's like, okay, and that's also found in cheese. Whey is the byproduct of cheese, right? It's also found in yogurt. So where do you draw the line with this? You could argue it's very natural. So, and as a result of that, she would essentially save money, save time, improve her nutrition. We know from research, people who have protein at breakfast, for example, stay fuller for longer, control their blood sugar levels better, potentially control cravings, which could then impact weight loss. That has a positive impact. So I hope that helps. Any questions, do let me know. I thought that was just it's always, every day it's just a conversation that I share here, and I hope that helps. If you found that helpful, like, share it, reach more people. This doesn't have to be as rigid as you think. Processed foods can be superfoods. Most superfoods in superfood shops are processed foods, right? Think about it. It's interesting. Anyway, interesting to me. Enjoy your day. Have a great day, and I will see you soon. If you're joining us for our next Kickstart, by the way, which starts this week and next week, flexible start date, give me a comment below of Kickstart or send me a message, go to fruitfit.com if not for more info, and I'll see you soon. Take care.